My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake. Good morning and welcome to Joe Knows South Lake. I am Joe Carlisle. I am happy you are here. I just want to say that we have an amazing show for you today. Don't forget to like, love, and share if you're watching us on the social medias. As a matter of fact, if you haven't, you probably should go like our Facebook page. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. You will get a notification on all of our amazing programming. Also, we have an amazing spot left here for premier sponsorship. Let us know. You can have your logo, your company's logo right here on every single episode of the Joe Knows South Lake show. We'd love to have you there. On the show today, well, we're going to celebrate Pancake Day. It's National Pancake Day. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about vision and Johnny Appleseed because it is also Johnny Appleseed Day. We are going to talk about what's important. What is important? And finally, my dear friend, Mary Rhodes, is joining us today on the show. I'm so excited. I actually booked her a month ago because I wanted her here this first official week on Homefront, which is generally a Thursdays we're doing housing and real estate, and it was important to have her here. Mary was my first sponsor, big supporter and champion of mine. I really appreciate her, so we're looking forward to having her on. But that will be in a moment. We do need to hear from our sponsors, of whom Mary was my first. We'll be back in just a minute, and then the show.
Purchasing a home? Hi, I'm Mary Rhodes with the Mortgage Firm, your local direct lender for FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA mortgages. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or looking to purchase a vacation home, we can help. Visit our website today for more information.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Claremont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with
And
every
welcome
cup.
back. Joe is still making mistakes. Sorry about that, folks. Please forgive me, Jay. My wife will tell you I am a constant work in progress.
It's all good, Joe.
I get these days I'm all excited I forget to look at the hand signals. We do have a system, folks. Jay is a consummate professional. He's bringing the amateur along.
That's okay. We're all learning here, Joe. It's all good. It's all good.
All right, today is Pancake Day. All right, I love these national days because some of them are so much fun. Pancakes. What's wrong with a pancake? Absolutely nothing. You can have the beauty of pancakes is they're so utilitarian. Here in America, we only use them for breakfast, but they are very easily used for lunch, for dinner, a little bit of syrup. You can put fruit on them. Do you like pancakes, Jay?
I love pancakes, Joe.
Yeah?
What's your favorite one, Joe?
My favorite pancake is a blueberry pancake.
Blueberry?
A blueberry pancake with real New Hampshire, Vermont maple syrup. Not the fake stuff,
All right.
That comes out of the grocery store or Publix. I mean, the real expensive, it's like not flavored maple syrup. It's actual maple syrup cooked down because it used to be sap from a tree.
Right.
So, but pancakes are a great thing. My favorite thing to do with pancakes is I'll make up a huge batch of pancake batter, and I'll actually cook 2 to 3 times more pancakes than I actually need, and just lay them between wax paper and freeze them. And that way my wife gets to drop them in a toaster. You can heat them. You can just microwave them. Either way. I like that a little better than the frozen pancakes from the store, although I have used those too. It's pancake day. How do you celebrate pancakes? Have some pancakes at one of your meals. Also, I'd like to talk about vision. You know, it's also Johnny Appleseed Day, and I love this story. I grew up in New England. So when you're a little kid and you grow up in New England, Johnny Appleseed was actually a real guy. He isn't just a legend. His name was John Chapman. He was born in Leominster, Mass. in 1774. And the reason I've called this segment Vision is because Johnny Appleseed became who he was because he wanted to plant apples. So many apple trees that nobody in America would ever go hungry. Now, he had this reputation for being this starry-eyed dreamer, just wandering around the countryside, spreading apple seeds wherever he went. But he was actually quite an astute businessman. What he would do is he would walk in America in the 1800s, started out with his brother who settled down in Ohio, in Indianapolis or Ohio, something like that. But he started out with him, and he kept continuing and traveling. And what he would do is he would get apple seeds free from the cider mills because they were just throwing them away. And he would find a place in the forest that was an open clearing, and he would plant some apple seeds to turn them into trees, saplings. He would cordon off the area with fallen logs and debris so animals wouldn't get to it. When they became a certain height, he would go back and tend them, make sure they got watered. He would dig them up and sell them or barter them to local settlers, and actually became quite wealthy in his lifetime for doing this. He was the original vegetarian. He wouldn't kill anything, spent most of his life living in the forests of America. You look like you have something to say about that, Jay. No?
No.
My mistake. So he was the original vegetarian. He wouldn't eat meat. He would barter for foods, preferring to live off of what he could find in nature. So the reason I like this story is I can't imagine what it was like to live in the 1800s, the early 1800s. I mean, there were still Indians in the forests of the Ohio Valley and Indiana and places in Massachusetts, and upstate New York. And he actually became friends with a good number of these tribes, learning many of their languages. But the vision it took to say, what happened to him, somewhere along the line, he saw somebody hungry. Somewhere this idea percolated in his mind. He knew it would take 10, when I've talked about this on the show, 10 years to get an apple tree to the place where it's actually producing apples. But he knew once they started producing apples that they would produce apples year after year after year on their own, as long as you didn't cut the tree down. That took vision. To think that he could do that and create something. I got to wonder, when we approach our lives, do we have that kind of vision? Do we look at not what our lives will create for ourselves, but what it creates for the world? Do we try to get a vision that says, I can change the world? I know a lot of times I don't. And I should. And finally, I want to talk about what's important. This morning, I'm sorry about that. This morning, I was having a kind of a rough day. I've got one of these days scheduled. It is packed. I mean, I am literally going from one thing to the next until tonight at 8, 9 o'clock at night. And one of the things, I had my prayer group this morning, Impact 630, great guys I love to meet with. I was going from there to a Kiwanis christening of a park, and my day's winding up, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm running a few minutes behind, and I'm struggling with the person in front of me that won't turn, and the guy who's going too slow, and all the things I gotta do and hurry up. And I get to this park, and the park I was mistaken about the event. It was actually a dedication of the park to a 10-year-old girl who died of cancer last year. And suddenly in a moment, I realized that all these people, and there had to be 40 people there, at 8 o'clock in the morning. and all there to put their life aside. And a lot of them were from Kiwanis, but a lot of them were from the chamber, law enforcement. A lot of people there that were, just there to support this family. And I just had this moment. Next month we're going to do some things around Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But cancer affects a lot of people, and I talked yesterday about perspective, and this morning I was just hit right between the eyes. I can't imagine what that family goes through every single day. To wake up and have to know they have to breathe another day without a child. A child who was grossly inspirational. I would encourage you to go down to that park dedicated to Lily. There's a little statue there with a note that she had on her door at the hospital as she was fighting her last days of cancer, that talked how she would succeed and how she wouldn't let anybody in the room unless they stopped and read that sign. I'd suggest you go by. The only point I have today is sometimes those things that we're so upset about and so worried about, they're just not important. Hug your kids, love your friends, and remember, somebody out there has to survive today without a child. At any rate, we'll be back in a minute with my dear friend Mary Rhodes, great champion for me and for others, branch manager of the mortgage firm, an awesome human being. So we're going to hear from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Clearmont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
Saturday night, October 5th, Claremont, Florida, get ready as Local Pro Wrestling presents Fight Fest, featuring 6 hard-hitting matches, including the Technical Alchemist, David Mercury, against Aaron Epic. In the semi-main event, a 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal, and former TNA superstar Mr. 630 Jarrell Clark. And the main event for the evening, former WWF WCW superstar, the Cuban Assassin, takes on the marquee Bruce Santee. Adult tickets are $15 and children ages 5 to 12 are only $10. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite. For more details, follow us on Facebook at Local Pro Wrestling or visit localprowrestling.com. Come support Local Pro Wrestling live.
Hello, I'm Mary Rhodes with the mortgage firm, your local mortgage lender. I've helped thousands of families achieve the dream of homeownership in Lake County, and I would love to help you. Please read our reviews and visit us at mortgagefirmpros.com.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Clearmont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
And welcome back. It's always so good to hear from our sponsors. Mary, you may not know it, but every time we come back, I always say, great love for Mary. You're my first sponsor, you're my best champion. I want to welcome Mary Rhodes to the show finally.
Thank you, Joe. I'm your biggest fan.
Did your husband make you nervous? Did he tell bad stories about me?
No, of course not. No, he enjoyed his stint on the show.
For those of you who may not know, Scott Rhodes was our appraiser a few weeks ago, and Scott is Mary's husband. And so it's been actually a blessing in my life to know them both. Mary Rhodes is the branch manager and senior loan originator for the Mount Dora branch of the mortgage firm. She holds a degree in business administration and finance from UCF. She was the affiliate of the year for the Realtors Association of Lake and Sumter County. She was in the 2010 graduating class of the Leadership Lake County program. She is a former board of director for both the United Way of Lake and Sumter Counties, the Home Builders Association of Lake and Sumter Counties. Yeah, she does a lot, right? And she is currently on the board of directors of Life Choices Women's Clinic, which is a pregnancy crisis center. And I know that's very dear to her heart. And I know that Mary is so humble. That's the first I heard about this was actually from her husband when I interviewed him. So, Mary, welcome.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Were you nervous coming on? I know you're so humble.
Of course, a little bit.
You know, I want to say one of the greatest things about Mary is I've known her most of my real estate career. We got connected fairly early on. She has always been one of my biggest champions. Can you tell I love Mary?
Thank you, Joe.
She was a big champion in my life when I didn't deserve one, but sure when I needed one. And I really have always appreciated that, and I think she knows it. Mary and I actually get together once a month at least. We try.
Yeah, we do.
And I will tell you something about Mary. You won't know Mary long and not be encouraged. If you're in a relationship with Mary, you're going to get encouraged, period, end of story. No matter how negative or whiny you get. And I know that from personal experience. All right, Mary, you're here to talk about mortgages. So tell us a little bit about, since I've just sung your personal praises,
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the mortgage firm.
Sure. So the mortgage firm is a company that started out in Winter Park many years ago. And I have been with the company. I just celebrated my 23rd year, 23 years with the mortgage firm. And we are a direct lender. We lend our own money. We make our own decisions. We are now one of the largest private lenders in the state of Florida. We have over 50 branches throughout Florida.
Wait a minute. Is that what direct lender means, that you lend your own money?
Direct lender means we lend our own money. That's correct.
Great.
Yes. And so I opened the Lake County branch of the mortgage firm 8 years ago. Yes.
Now, Mary, again, this is going to be a tough interview because Mary is so humble. I'm going to have to draw some of her praises out. She opened up the mortgage firm 8 years ago, and what many of us don't realize, 2010 was really the bottom of the market. It wasn't exactly easy to get people to come in and get mortgages, to make relationships in this area. There were so many foreclosures going on and short sales. It was a very tough market.
That's true.
Tell us, Mary, how you built. I mean, what do you suppose? You're one of the well-known names in this area for mortgages now, and I know it's because of your servicing and just the way that you do business. What do you think was one of the things that allowed you to grow? Do you think it was the fact you were a direct lender?
Well, I would say, first of all, I pretty much built my business in Orlando, and for years that's where I worked. But yet I lived in Lake County. I lived in Tavares, me and my family, and I just got to a point where the market was crumbling, and I thought I want a fresh start. And as much as I love the Orlando market, I mean, this is Lake County. This is where I was raising my family. This is where my kids were going to school. This is where, I played. So I thought I want to build a business in Lake County and really help the residents of this county and help as many people in our communities to purchase a home. So that's where I started, and I think because that was really my honest goal, that alone just helped me succeed.
Now, you talked about the market, and we all know that the market was rough, in the recession, and we all have our stories. Markets obviously changed quite a bit. Can you comment a little bit about the market? We always hear about so many bizarre things, the 10-year treasury and the prime rates going up, but the stock market's lost 800 points. Can you give us an idea of what the market is like and how it gets influenced?
Sure. Well, first of all, I don't think anyone expected rates to be this low at this time of the year.
For this long.
For this long,
Right.
yes. But the fact is, this is the lowest rates have been since 2011. And a lot goes into that. It's really market conditions. So there's a lot of volatility out there right now. There's trade wars, there's tariffs, there's political unrest, and we're such a global economy. So things that happen not only domestically but globally are going to affect our interest rates. So when there's all that volatility, investors, they don't want to put their money in the stock market. It's too volatile. They would prefer to put their money in long-term fixed rate bonds, which are mortgage-backed securities, which are our mortgages.
So mortgage-backed securities are probably the biggest market influence for the mortgage rates today.
Yes.
You know, it's you and I were talking earlier about there are different kinds of borrowers.
Right.
And some borrowers, they're always rate shopping, but there are things more important than rate. And can you give us an idea of what the three most important things are if I want to come to you and get a mortgage? I mean, what should I have a handle on?
Sure.
When I call you?
Sure. Well, the most important things is just to have a handle on your credit, your income, and your assets. Those are the three things really that are the most important when buying a home. Sure.
How often does somebody come to you and again, I'm a realtor, just full disclosure, I am a realtor with Remax Titanium here in Claremont. I'm also a member of the Lake and Sumter County Realtors Board, just so no complaints, I just disclosed. As a realtor, we run into people all the time that I send you and, maybe they can't qualify. What's the biggest thing that knocks people down? What do you see most common? Is it credit? Is it debt? What is it?
Yeah, it's credit. I would say it's credit. Think of all the deals that we've done together. And, the people that we tried to get qualified that just had credit issues. So that's probably the most important thing.
How many of those people do you think actually go, because a lot of times somebody I'll have them excited about the house and they don't have the credit, and then they've got a loan from you later, but they have another realtor. What percentage of people do you think actually get declined and then come back 6 months later? 50%?
Oh, goodness.
20%? What do you think
It depends on how motivated they are and if they listen to my advice, hopefully. I'd say probably a good 50% of them come back and they did what I advised.
What do you think the biggest issue is? I mean, is there commonality in what you have to advise? Is it paying off? Some debt? Is it, getting rid of something? What is the biggest thing that are taking out lines of credit?
Right.
What is the most common thing you have to advise?
Okay. First of all, the most important factor in credit scoring is just paying your bills on time. But the second most important factor is how much money you owe in relation to the credit that's been extended to you. So the quickest credit score fix is to pay down your debt. So if you have a credit card that has $1,000 credit limit and your balance is $990, that's really going to hurt your scores. But if you can pay that down to less than a third of $1,000, then your score could easily go up 20, 30
So that's
40
interesting.
points.
Paying it off hurts me? Or paying it, which is better? Paying 2-3 credit cards down or paying off one?
Paying the best thing to do is just pay them all down.
Pay them all down.
Pay them all down.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
And I
great.
tell people after they're paid down, then still use them, but don't charge more than a tank of gas a month. Tank of gas a
Right.
month, paid off when the bill comes in, and just do that every month.
Something, I recommend that to my kids all the time who are establishing credit. I
Yes.
tell them, look, gas is something you're going to pay money for anyways. Put it on a credit card, pay it off at the end of the month, so
Right.
you have a revolving credit. But for a kid who's 23, 25 years old, that takes some discipline. It's hard to have that credit card in the pocket and not go out on Friday night and drop $200.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly. And that's a big challenge too, is a lot of people have no credit scores. But I recently helped somebody that moved here from South Carolina, and they had no credit scores. I told them exactly what to do, and within 3 months they had 660 credit scores, and they bought and closed on a home the
Oh,
following
you gotta
month.
love that. You gotta
So
love
it was
that.
great, yeah.
Tell us, obviously we know from your ad you do move up buyers and move down buyers.
Yeah.
What kind of loans do you do? Is conventional loans the most common thing you do? Is it FHA or USDA loans? I know you do all of them.
Yeah.
But what do you think is the most common? And can you give us an idea of the difference?
Sure.
A brief idea of the difference.
Sure. So FHA, VA, USDA, conventional, those are pretty much all the loans we do. We call them agency loans. We do some specialized loans for maybe self-employed people that can't verify income, maybe people that have lower credit scores but they've got a good down payment. So we kind of run the gamut.
So what's I know I do a lot of deals, and a go-to is if somebody has a hard time with one loan, they get switched over to another kind.
True.
Typically, they're going through something like an FHA loan, and they have to go to conventional. Can you tell us what the difference is?
Sure.
Okay, give us a brief. Obviously, VA loans are for veterans.
Right.
But USDA, what is the commonality of USDA, FHA, VA as opposed to conventional?
Okay, so conventional loans are a little bit more difficult to qualify for. You've got to have the higher credit scores, usually a little bit more money to put down. But then FHA is a little easier on debt to income qualifying ratios. They're a little bit more lenient on credit scoring and things like that. Let's see, VA for veterans, of course. I love VA loans, been doing those for a very long time. USDA, we're losing a lot of our USDA market because we're becoming so populated here in Lake County, especially in South Lake. So
now USDA, if I'm correct, they originally started as farm loans back in the 20s and 30s.
Farmers' home loans.
Yeah, but they've morphed into something for areas that are not as popular, more rural areas. Doesn't have to be a farm. You can get a house in a subdivision on a USDA loan as long as it doesn't have the population density.
Right. The program was meant to promote home ownership in rural areas.
Right,
We're
right.
just
So-
not as rural as we used to be.
So if I'm correct, VA, USDA, and FHA are all government guaranteed
Yes.
to some degree, whereas a conventional loan isn't.
Correct.
And that's why you have to, it's a little more stringent to get approved,
That's right.
correct?
That's
Tell
right.
us what, I just want to switch a little bit in the idea here. I know you have 1,000 stories, okay? Can you give us an idea of what maybe one of the most poignant stories of somebody you helped get a loan or?
Sure. Let's see. One that comes to mind recently, which self-employed people are always a challenge. Because, of course, when you're self-employed, you want to show as little income as possible to pay in little in
Right.
taxes as possible. That's just normal.
And that bites you later.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I worked with a self-employed individual recently, was referred to me by a neighbor. He had been to different banks in town trying to get a mortgage, and just nobody would approve him. So he came to me, and I could see why he couldn't be approved because he really didn't show enough income. However, it was just about time to file 2018 tax returns. So we sat down, looked at his tax returns for 2017. I told him in order to qualify for what he wanted, this is exactly what 2018 tax return needs to look like. I worked closely with his accountant, got his 2018 tax return done, got him approved, and then he was able to close within a month or so.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
That's great. Do you know, I know Mary does this for the same reason I do, is there's just something special about being at a close and seeing a couple, whether they're in their 20s or their 40s, who never thought they'd have a house.
Right.
You know, who's spent their life handing somebody else rent money.
Yes.
And you can see how it hits them.
Yes.
You know, that they own it. Now they have that moment of fear, right?
Of course they do. It's an emotional
oh my gosh, what did I
experience.
just do?
It's emotional.
And just
It sure
after
is.
that sense of, wow, I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
I can, I'm secure. If I take care of this, nobody will ever tell me what to do in my home again. It's just a great thing to see. Mary, we're starting to run out of time. And I just want to thank you for coming. It's been absolutely great. I would like to ask you to look here. This is your camera, and to tell people how to get in touch with you. And I'm sure Jay is going to bring up your website here. So
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So I'm Mary Rhodes with the mortgage firm. I can be reached at 352-383-3046. And please read my reviews at mortgagefirmpros.com. Thank you.
Okay, now I am going to give a plug for Mary Rhodes, and in the full disclosure, My boss, Remax Titanium, is not involved in this. I'm an independent businessman. Mary is pretty much my go-to gal. She answers my phone calls when I have a question, when I have some. She will help me even on somebody she's not doing a loan for when I have questions about other lenders who I think maybe aren't quite measuring up. So if you are thinking about buying a house, you should give Mary Rhodes a call at the mortgage firm. Just Joe's opinion. With that said, thank you for joining us, Mary. You're always a joy to get with. I'm going to hit her up for our month. I don't think it's been a couple of months, but I'm going to hit her up for our breakfast.
Time for our breakfast.
When we're done. I want to thank you for joining us. Look, if you know anybody that should be a guest on Joe Knows South Lake, reach out to me. I'm sure the contact information is up there. If you know anybody that is interested in sponsoring the show or needs to promote their business like Mary does on the station, please reach out to me. And do not forget, I don't know if you can see it in my shot, this premium sponsorship space is still available. So don't wait too long because prices are going up. So reach out to me. Let me see. Like, love, share. And I'd like to remind you finally that there is greatness inside you. Dare to let that greatness out today. I will see you tomorrow, and I love you. Bye-bye. My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake.